Today, I will be presenting on communication. And before I get started, I just like to point out that some of you are probably sitting here watching this presentation thinking, please let her not be telling us a long story and all about herself. Let her just get straight to the point. Whereas there's others of you that would actually prefer me to tell you a little bit about myself. Well, luckily for those who would want me to get straight to the point, I'm going to do so now. But I'll get back to this illustration that I highlighted that some of you feel you want me to go straight to the point and others would like me to tell you about myself. In looking at Psalm 193, which reads, "You shaped me first inside, then out. You formed me in my mother's womb." We see in this scripture that it can be interpreted that God has made each of us and that He was part of the process of us being formed in our mother's wombs. This means that each of us have been specially made by God. There is no one in the population of about 7 billion people on earth that is exactly the same as you are. If you think of people you know and how different we are, you can note that some are short, some are tall, some have bigger ears, and others have pointier noses. It's evident to see that God is a fan of diversity. According to Scripture, God has placed within each of us different gifts, talents, ways of serving, and different abilities to perform service. God hasn't made us to only look different, but He's made us to think and act differently too. God has created each of us to have a unique combination of personality traits. In my research, it's found that there are 4 main personality types, namely dominant, inspiring, supportive, and cautious. Dominant. The dominant personality type is of a person that is an outgoing and task-oriented kind of person, with focus of completing tasks, getting to the main point, and making things happen. Inspiring. The inspiring personality type is also a person that is outgoing but is more of a people-oriented person, which enjoys interacting with people. This person is concerned about what other people think of them. Supportive. Supportive personality type is someone with this kind of personality that tends to be more reserved and is focused on interacting with people. This kind of person is helpful, supportive, and enjoys working with people. Cautious. The cautious personality type is the kind of person that is also more reserved and is focused on completing tasks. This kind of individual looks for value, consistency, and quality information, and focuses on being correct or accurate. Now, remember what I said in the beginning about certain of you wanting me to get straight to the point? Well, if that's you, you're either dominant or cautious. And those that want to perhaps get to know me better, who I am, would be the inspiring or supportive personality type. Now, what does this have to do with communication, you ask? Well, in the Bible, we see that communication is important. There is mention of communication that takes place between God and people and God, and people and people. This last one is vitally important for us to be able to communicate the gospel of Jesus Christ with others. In the famous prayer of St. Francis Assisi, we find that he asks God to help him to first understand and then to be understood. This prayer links up with Scripture. Proverbs 18 verse 13 says, "Those that answer before listening are fools and will be brought to shame." In order to communicate effectively, whether it be to communicate the gospel, encouraging others, working together on a project, there are certain principles that we ought to use. Now, looking at the principle of understanding first and then being understood, we see that for effective communication to take place, we need to understand people around us. And in order to understand people around us, we need to listen. If we look at Jesus, we see that he really listened. He didn't only listen to what people said, but he also listened to what people didn't say. As we listen, or rather observe, because it needs to include both nonverbal and verbal communication, we can better understand the person that we are trying to relate to. Through listening, we might even be able to identify a person's personality type, and being aware of their personality type will enable us to better communicate with them. Let's all embrace the way that God has made us and others differently by taking the time to listen. Although we are different, we need to communicate effectively. By listening or observing, we can get to understand others better and know how to communicate better with one another. This is my bibliography with all the references that I used in this presentation. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.